There we are. So we're going to start down on the mat in just a cross-leg position to start with. Have a block handy or a book. Hi, Julie.
Hi.
So I'm just going to mute everyone. And sort this out. There we go. Okay. So what are we doing today? Some stretches that are going to open our chest and heart a little bit, because I'm doing it in honor of the fact that we're coming up to Valentine's Day. So I thought we'd do some real nice chest openers. So we'll be doing that throughout the session. So come down to your mat, and if you've got a block there, usually I say perch on the edge, don't sit full onto the block. But this time I want you to sit on the block, because we're just going to lift our hips up a little bit higher than our knees, because we're unusually going to start the class in Baddha Konasana. And because this is quite a hip opener, it's quite a tough one to begin the class with, because, you know, we've just got up, we haven't really moved our bodies, and probably your hips and your knees are feeling a little bit tight. So if you're only to here, that's perfectly fine. So just sit on your block, relax your shoulders, and we're just going to start to move in this position. So you could have your hands around your toes, or you could have them, your arms just resting on your thighs, and just gently ease into this position. So just be mindful of this upright spine. So we're not curling the back and rolling over. We're just having a few moments, easing the body into this position. And we'll be coming back to Baddha Konasana later in the class. So we'll notice how much difference a little bit of movement and some stretching and some breathing, and notice how much that affects our body. So come back to center, and then relaxing the shoulders once more, slight engagement of the tummy muscles. Just close your eyes. So just take a few moments and settle. So when we were talking about how we start and settle and ground last week, when we mentioned that, and I talked about the link with the nervous system, this is a classic one where our nervous system straight away thinks, oh, I don't know about coming into Baddha Konasana first thing in the morning. Don't think my legs are going to drop a tall, wide thing. And, you know, if they're up here, that's perfectly fine. Just sit and breathe. And just notice if your out breath is allowing any more movement. I'm starting to feel better already, just breathing into this pose and allowing the weight of my legs to send my knees out to the side. So no tension anywhere. So like I said, if you're finding it too much, just bring the knees up. I want you to feel at ease just as you breathe and ground. Just letting go with the breath. And then take your hands to the outside of your knees. Just gently blink your eyes open and bring the knees back up and together. So we're going to come off the block now. Now move the block out of the way and slide your feet a little bit further in front of you. Perhaps I should go like this. That's it. So, and your hands are behind. So just resting back into the hands. So starting a little bit of a chest opener here, just squeezing the shoulder blades together. And take a breath in. And as you breathe out, just ease the knees over to the right. Breathing them back up to center and breathing them over to the left. So just a few easing into this movement. And then once you've done a few and it's starting to feel a little bit freer, as you drop your knees to the right, turn and gaze over the left shoulder. So it's starting to feel a bit more open in the chest and in the fronts of the shoulders. Just gently adding in that little twist. And then the next time you take the knees to the left, make that the last one. Bring the knees back to center and just bring yourself back to a comfortable seated position. Using your block once more, if you want to, this time just perching on the edge of the block if you're using it. So we're just going to sit comfortably here. Finding the length in the spine, resting your hands on your knees. Take a breath in, and as you breathe out, just drop your right ear to your right shoulder. So keep this shoulder down, taking the ear to the shoulder, finding that lovely stretch on the left side. And then breathing the head back up, breathing out, stretching to the left. So really make this a sideways move. We're not going forward or back with the neck. I want you to feel the stretch down the side of the neck into that really strong muscle we've got there supporting the head, the sternocleidomastoid. And then bring your head back up. And we'll just do some gentle neck rolls. So do whatever feels good for you. Just being mindful of the back of the neck so you don't squash those vertebrae, the back of the neck. You're just coming in a nice circle, easing out, and then changing direction. And if you can hear some like crunchy noises, that's perfectly fine. Just easing out on any trapped air between the joints. Clicks and clunks. Come back to center. So still staying in our seated position, take your hands out to the side of the mat, sitting up straight and tall, and walk your right hand out as far as it will go as you lift the left arm up and over. So again, it's very much a sideways move. Maybe your right elbow will rest down on the mat as you reach this left hand. So the arm is alongside your left ear, palm is facing down. Breathing in, reach it all the way back up, back to the mat. Breathing out, over to the left side. Just noticing the difference. Maybe one side sinks a little deeper. And as you're reaching, try and keep your both hips on the mat. So breathing in, let's go over to the other side once more. So I've got a much more open left side because I can take my right elbow down to the mat. And when I come to do the other side, don't quite want to go. So just goes to show we've all got differences in our body. So this last time we're going to do it, we're going to hold for 3 long breaths. Really try and work into that side stretch. Taking a breath in. And then lifting yourself back up, over to the other side. 3 long breaths. And then lift yourself up. And just have a little shrug of the shoulders. And then take your feet so that they're under your body. And we're coming into all fours. So from this all fours position, our toes are in the mat, our hands are under shoulders, knees under hips. Just have a moment here and move any way that you like. So there might be some circular movements with your hips. You might move forward and back, making a figure of 8, imagining there's a pencil in your mouth and you're drawing a figure of 8. So whatever you do, make sure you reverse those movements. So just mobilizing the body and working into all those deep and dark crevices and releasing any stiffness. Well done. So from this all fours position, you're going to keep your hands underneath your shoulders, and we're just going to work into the shoulders, adjust the shoulders. So taking a breath in, just press the mat away and open through the back of the shoulders. And then as you breathe out, deliberately sink them down. So do that move that I say don't ever do when we're in our all fours. So you're going to sink them all the way down as if you're trying to get those scapula, the shoulder blade, to touch. And then breathing them up once more and back down. And then I'd like a circular movement. So you're sort of scooping forward a little bit as you press into the mat and open up, and sending them back a little bit as you sink back down. So it's really quite a nice stretch in the back, and I'd be amazed if you're not getting any clicks in this one. You can usually feel them, not just in the shoulders, but all the way into the upper back, the thoracic area. So with this circular movement, change the direction now. So it's like a sort of sweeping forward and down and around and easing out, freeing up the top of the chest. So come back to an all fours, and then toes are into the mat. Sit your hips back just about halfway. Take a breath in, engage the tummy muscles, and lift the knees away from the floor. So they're about 3 or 4 inches. You're gazing down to the mat. It's quite strong. And then release them back down to the mat. Just take a breather here. And we're going to try that once more. We're going to lift our knees. So take a breath in. Tummy muscles engaged. Sit back. Lift the knees. And then you can just stay here for another breath, or maybe you can move forward and back with the knees lifted. Just starting to reach into the hands and the arms, feeling it in your thighs as well. One more, forward and back if you're doing it. And then release. Knees back to the mat. So from this all fours position, let's bring in a puppy dog pose, Anahatarasana. It's So just float your hands out along the mat and allow the elbows to rest, then the forehead. And maybe you can send your chest down to the mat. Keep the hips pointing up and above your knees. A really good chest opener. And then take a breath in as you walk yourself all the way back and take your knees wide, toes together, sink back into extended child's Balasana. Okay, let's get a bit of movement up and away from the mat. So come back to an all fours position and sit back onto your heels. So we're going to do a couple of kneeling salutes and just get the body moving. So from this all fours position, taking a breath, not all fours, kneeling position, take a breath in and float your hands up. The palms are facing forward. And as you breathe out, send them all the way down to the mat. So reach out as far as you can. Swan pose. Breathing in, bring yourself up into all fours. So checking your alignment here, hands under shoulders, knees under hips, toes into the mat. 3 cat-cows. Take a breath in, breathing out round the spine. Breathe in, breathe out. Cow pose. Dipping down, leading with the chin and the chest, tilting the pelvis. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. Breathe in, breathe out. Cat pose. Marichanasana. Breathe in, breathe out. Cow pose, Vidalasana. Once more, breathe in, breathe out. Really press that mat away. Breathe in, breathe out. Cow pose. Breathe in, come back to all fours. Breathe out. Breathe in, lift your knees and your hips and breathe out as you come into downward facing dog. Have a little walk through your feet. So easing out those hamstrings. And then allow the heels to come towards the mat. Just taking a breath here. Breathing in as you shift your weight forward through plank, dropping the knees to the mat, release the toes and sink down into up dog or low cobra, your choice. So breathing in here. As you breathe out, toes go back into the mat, lift your hips, come back to downward facing dog. Just take a breath. And then release your knees back to the mat to all fours. So from your all fours, let's do 3 more cat-cows. Breathing in, breathing out, cat pose. Breathe in, breathe out, cow pose. Breathe in, breathe out, cat pose. Breathe in, breathe out, cow pose. Breathe in, breathe out, cat pose. Breathe in, breathe out, cow pose. Breathe in as you come back to all fours, and as you breathe out, release the tops of your feet and sink back into swan. So reaching the hands forward, knees are pointing forward. Take a breath in. And as you breathe out, float the hands all the way back up. Palms are facing forward. And then bring your hands to the heart center. So we know what we're doing now. That was one round of kneeling salute. So we're going to do one more with a little bit more speed. So take a breath in here. Breathing out, float the hands up. Palms facing forward. Breathe in, breathe out. Reach them out along the mat. Swan pose. Really extend from the shoulders. Breathe in. Breathe out. Come up to all fours. Breathe in. Breathe out. Cat pose. Breathe in. Breathe out. Cow pose. Two more. Breathe in. Breathe out. Cat pose. Breathe in, breathe out, cow pose. Breathe in, breathe out, cat pose. Breathe in, breathe out, cow pose. Breathe in to come back to all fours. Breathe out to lift your knees and your hips. Downward facing dog. Really work into your down dog now. Send your ears to your inner arms. Imagine you're placing your bottom ribs on your thighs. And just take a moment here. Breathing in as you shift forward into plank. Take your knees to the mat, release your feet. So either up dog, lifting the chest, sending it forward, squeeze the shoulder blades together, or you can come down to low cobra. Your choice. Breathe in, breathe out, toes into the mat, lift the hips, downward facing dog. Just take a resting breath here. And then breathing in, breathing out, knees to the mat. And slide your hands. Oh no, we should do 3 more cat-cows here. So take a breath in. And as you breathe out, round the spine. Breathe in, breathe out. Cow pose. 2 more, breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Cow pose. Last time. Breathe in. Breathe out. Cat pose. Breathe in. Breathe out. Cow pose. Breathe in. Come back to all fours and then releasing your toes, sink back into swan. So really reach the arms forward. And feel the extension from your fingertips all the way through your shoulders, down the side body. And then take a breath in, engage in your tummy muscles as you float the hands up, palms are facing forward, and then release to the heart center. Well done. So should be feeling a little bit freer in the upper body. So take your hands back to the mat into all fours, toes into the mat. Take a breath in and lift your hips and just walk your feet all the way back to your hands and just drop the head. Have a bend in the knees here. So trying to place your bottom ribs on your thighs and dropping the head towards the mat. So make sure you can plant your hands into the mat here and then lift one heel and place it down, then lift the other heel. So it's as if you're walking the feet when we're in down dog. It'll feel quite different. It's a nice movement into the feet as you come right up onto the toes, and also your thighs will be engaging here. And then take your hands to your hips. Take a breath in and slowly, slowly, slowly bring yourself up. Just allow everything to settle. Blood pressure will feel a little bit strange here with our head down below our heart for a moment, so let it settle. And then bring your hands together at the heart center. We're just going to go down to the mat once more. You're going to see how your blood pressure settles really quite quickly and allows us to do another forward bend. So take a breath in, hands out wide, reach up and overhead, gaze to your palms. And as you breathe out, bring them all the way down the midline, down to the mat. Bend in the knees if the hands won't quite reach the mat. Take a breath in. Slide the hands up to your shins. Find that half forward fold. Breathe in. Breathe out. Take your hands back to the mat. So bend the knees so that the hands are touching the floor once more. And then as you breathe in, you're going to walk the hands around to the right side of the body. So trying to keep the hips pointing forward and the backs of the hips up towards the ceiling. So we're just twisting around to the right. And then breathing in, walking all the way back around and breathing out as you twist to the left. Keeping those hips pointing forward. And then breathing in back to center. Take your hands to your hips once more and very slowly bring yourself up. So, everybody feeling okay? Good. So let's do another few chest openers from here. So standing up, straight and tall. I see my head there. Stand up straight and tall. Relax the shoulders. So really be aware of opening the top and the front of the chest. So that doesn't mean sending these ribs forwards. We're not doing this. We're keeping these bottom ribs down in a nice straight line, in line with our thighs. Relax the shoulders. Find some softness in the knees. And then take your hands behind your back and interlace the fingers. Breathe in. And as you breathe out, just send those hands away. So feel how you're trying to bring the shoulder blades together while still keeping the fronts of the ribs pointing down and opening through the front of the chest. And then as you breathe in, ease off. Try that once more. Breathe in and breathe out. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. Keeping that nice straightness in the front of the body. Breathe in, easing off. Next time, we're going to add in a little dip. So have your feet slightly wider than hip distance apart. Engage your tummy muscles, softness in the knees. Breathe in, breathe out. Arms come behind. Breathe in, breathe out. Half forward fold. So you're just sending the body halfway forward. So see if you can extend through the whole length of the spine, send the crown of the head behind you. Breathing in, send the crown of the head behind you, send it in front of you. Somebody picked me up on that. So float your hands up towards the ceiling. That would be good if you could get the crown of your head facing behind up to your head through your knees. So the things yoga teachers say, I think there's a book on that. We do say weird things, like breathe in through the soles of your feet. So breathing yourself back to an upright position. Well done. Let the shoulders relax down and release the hands. So we're going to come back down to the mat. Take a breath in, reach your hands up and overhead. Take your gaze to your palms. And as you breathe out, come all the way down through the midline, down to the mat. Back into Uttanasana, forward fold. And then planting your hands, bending your knees, step your right leg back and your left leg. You're back into downward facing dog. So just have a little walk here. Ease into this down dog. Check your alignment, check that you're in the right position. Spread the hands wide on the mat, really feel connected. And then with your next breath, plant the left foot into the mat and float the right leg up, three-legged dog. Just take a breath here. Breathe in, draw the right knee up towards your chest. Come up onto those left toes, step the foot forward and through. So we're going to come up to a variation on Warrior One. It's going to give us a nice chest opener. So you can drop the left heel down to the mat, or if you're feeling quite stable, stay up on the back toes, bend the right knee, breathing in, engage that right hip as you sweep the hands forward. You're really pressing into the mat, find that balance. And lift the hands up and overhead and hook the thumbs together. So your gaze is forward. Just try and get your balance before we do anything. So breathe in here. Feel that the front toes are really spreading on the mat. And see if you can sink your shoulders down as you open the chest. Breathe in. So add in a little bit now as we lift the eyes up towards the ceiling, opening through the front of the chest, coming into a little variation on Warrior One, crescent pose. And then release the hands all the way forward, down to the mat, and step back, downward facing dog. Just have a breath. That was a strong balance. Supposed to be love involved in this class for Valentines. So sorry about that. So all four hands and feet are pressing down into the mat in your down dog. And then right foot, particularly press that into the mat as you float your left leg up, three-legged dog. And then breathing in, drawing the left knee up, come up onto your right toes and step the foot forward and through. So we're going to do the same again. Got the option to drop that right heel down to the mat into our usual 45 degrees, or if you're feeling balanced, stay up on the back toes, spread the front toes wide. You want as much connection with the ground as you can. Take a breath in, engage that left hip and slowly float your hands up. So your left knee is bent, your right leg is coming towards straight. Just a little bend in the knee. And then hook the thumbs together. So see if you can hook them in a different way to last time. Reaching them up and overhead. Just breathe in here. Sink the shoulders down, opening through the front of the chest. Breathing in, keeping those lower ribs pointing down towards the hips. And then when you feel you've got your balance, breathe in and breathe out, lifting the head. And just coming into a little mini back bend as you open the chest. And then on your next exhalation, float your hands all the way down to the mat, back to down dog. Just take a resting breath in down dog. So down dog does feel like a resting pose when we do a strong balance like that. And then breathing in, shifting forward into plank. So find your plank, nice straight line from the back of the head all the way down to your heels. Breathe in, breathe out, release the knees to the mat, release the feet, release the hips, and come down into low cobra. So squeeze those shoulder blades together, just gazing forward of the mat. Bhujangasana, cobra pose. Take a breath here. And as you breathe out, lift your chest. So you can keep your hips down on the mat if your lower back allows it, or release and lift up. Don't put too much strain on the lower back. So coming up to a variation of up dog. Now, when we do this, we want to try and lift out of our shoulders. So breathe in. We're really opening the front of our chest. Imagine it as a zip from your belly button going all the way up to your throat. Lifting it up. Breathe in. Breathe out. Sink back into child. So take the knees wide and release the forehead down. Just take a breath here. And then breathing in, come back to all fours. So you're going to sit back onto your heels and release your legs out in front of you, one then the other, coming into Dandasana. So sitting up straight and tall in Dandasana. Have your toes pointing up to the ceiling. Have your gaze to your toes. So while you're looking at your toes, just have a little bit of movement with them. And can you open them wide? Can you spread them? Imagine they're like your fingers and you're trying to open your fingers wide as much as we will it to happen. They just want to stay close to each other, don't they? So a nice little trick is if you take your hands out in front of you and start moving your fingers, sometimes it tricks the brain into transferring that movement into the toes. So maybe your little toes will come out to the side. Maybe not. And release the hands down onto your thighs. So we're sitting up straight and tall. Keep that connection with the backs of the legs. Float the hands out in front of you. Take a breath in, and as you breathe out, you're gently going to lay yourself down on the mat, one vertebra at a time. Just resting the hands alongside the body. And then breathing the hands up towards the ceiling. Make fists with the hands as if you're holding a bar that's above you. And you're going to use this imaginary bar to help you to sit back up. So if it's impossible and your legs are just going to float up into the air at the same time, you can tuck your feet under your settee or under something. Otherwise, take a breath in. And as you breathe out, start to lift yourself up, holding on to that bar and lifting back up into Dandasana. So the trick is to not throw yourself up. We're trying to do this with control. So let's try it once more. Hands out in front of you, breathing in, breathing out. Releasing down, one vertebra at a time. Release the hands to the mat. Breathing in, hands come up, overhead. Make fists, grab hold of that bar, engage your tummy muscles, press the heels into the mat. Breathing in, oh, bring yourself up. Slowly, slowly. Well done. We're going to do it once more. Breathing the hands out in front, releasing down. So good for the core, this is. Breathing the hands up, make your fists, grab hold of that imaginary bar, press the heels down into the mat. Oh, bring yourself up. And release. Well done. So we're going to get into my most favorite chest opener, which is a variation on Wild Thing. So just draw your right sole of your foot into your left thigh. Sit up straight and tall. So we're taking our right knee out to the side. So as we do this, we're just gazing towards our left toes. So we're going to reach our right hand towards our left foot as we take a breath in. And then as we breathe out, we're going to float the hand up and over and behind us, and then lift up and reach the left arm up and over. So it's going to be a flowing movement, flowing the right hand back to the left toes, left hand out to the side, and then just reaching up, really opening through the chest. So try and do that with your breath. I'm just going to have a quick look at you. That's it. It's a lovely flowing movement. Reaching up, arm over. That's it. Sending your chest up to the ceiling. Doesn't it feel good? Brilliant. Let's do one more with you. I love this pose. Reaching forward and then reaching back. And then after your last one, sit yourself back upright and release both feet out in front of you, back into, excuse me, Dandasana. So we're going to do the same on the other side. Just get your breath back, let everything settle. Nice, strong Dandasana, backs of the legs pressing into the mat. Relax your shoulders. And then draw the left foot to the inside of the right thigh. Breathing in, left hand reaches towards your right toes, your right hand's just behind you, and then nice flowing movement as you release the left hand behind and reach up and over. Just switching forward and back with your breath. Breathing into the pose. Keep going. Nice flowing movements. So one more on this side. And then bring yourself back to Dandasana. Just for a moment. Sitting straight and tall. And then bending both knees, bringing them in towards your body. You're going to drop the knees out to the side. So we're back into our Baddha Konasana. So if you want your block once more, then slide it underneath you, or maybe you just need it as a little bit of a help to keep the hips nice and upright and the back upright and allow the knees to drop. Maybe you don't need anything. Hopefully, you're feeling a little bit freer from what we've been doing in the practice. I mean, I notice a difference with myself. I don't need the block, and my knees are almost out to the side. So just sit in your Baddha Konasana. Just for a moment, sitting upright. And then take your hands to the outside of your knees, help them back into that upright position. Slide your legs back out in front of you, back into Dandasana. So we're just going to do a nice little back release. So sit up straight and tall, float the hands up alongside your ears. And as you breathe out, just start to hinge forward in that nice flat back, gazing at your big toes and just reaching as far as is right for you. Maybe you can reach to the feet, or maybe it's just the ankles. Do whatever feels good. Keep breathing, easing off on your in-breath, breathing out and moving forward. And then you can start to round your spine as you place your nose towards your knees. Paschimottanasana, forward fold. And then slowly, slowly bring yourself back up. So we're going to come down to the mat in semi-supine. Bend your knees, bring your heels in quite close to your hips. Take your hands out in a gentle V with the palms facing up. And then just let the knees drop out to the side once more. So we're in Supta Baddha Konasana, reclined Baddha Konasana. Supta means reclined. Just pressing the soles of the feet together. And when you're like this, notice what's happening with your lower back. Is it arching away from the mat? So see if you can, with a few out breaths, just allow it to settle. Just feel it slowly lowering to the mat. And then taking your hands to the outside of your thighs, just helping the knees to come back together, and then slide the legs away. We're going to come into a few moments of relaxation. So grab hold of your layers or your blanket. And bring yourself down to your mats in Shavasana. So come down to your mat, lying out in Shavasana. Have your feet slightly wider than hip distance apart. Let your toes drop out to the side. Have your hands alongside your body in a gentle V, palms facing up. And just allow yourself to sink down into the mat, releasing any tension. Where are you holding on? Is it your forehead? See if you can use your out breath to let go. Releasing your face. Releasing down the sides of your neck. And over your shoulders. Down your arms. Allow your arms to feel heavy and relaxed. And then taking your attention to your back body, releasing from the back of the head and the neck, all the vertebrae of the spine, all the way down to your pelvis. Just let your hips drop open. Use your out breath to let go, no tension. All your work is done. Give yourself some love. And then relax all the way down your legs, down to your ankles, your feet and your toes. Just allow yourself to release into the mat. There is a form of yoga related to love. It's called Bhakti Yoga, Bhakti, Bhakti Yoga, the yoga of devotion. There's not much in the way of movement in the yoga of devotion. It's more about worshipping like higher deities or gods. But you can take that back inwards and take care of yourself. You don't like the concept of worship, just take care of yourself. Give ourselves some love. just read you a nice little passage. You are loved just for being who you are, just for existing. You don't have to do anything to earn it. Your shortcomings, your lack of self-esteem, physical perfection, or social and economic success, none of that matters. No one can take this love away from you, and it will always be there. And start to bring some awareness back to your body now. Wiggle your fingers and your toes. Rotate your wrists and your ankles. With your next inhalation, float your hands up and overhead to a full body stretch, point from your fingertips to your toes. And breathing out, let the hands rest on the floor behind you. Breathing in, bend in your knees. Plant your feet on the floor. Breathing out as you roll onto your right hand side. And just draw your knees up a little closer to your chest. Give yourself a touch. And then when you're ready, bringing yourself back up to an upright position. So I hope everyone's feeling okay, despite my weird instructions of telling you to send your head somewhere very strange. So let's sit up straight and tall, fingertips to the mat on either side. Breathing in, reaching the hands up and overhead. Breathing out, hands to the heart center. Breathing in. Breathing out. Breathing in. And this time, as you bring your palms together, take your gaze to your thumbs. Slowly draw your thumbs towards your forehead. Trace the outline of your nose, your lips, your chin, all the way down to your chest. Namaste. Thank you, everyone. Happy Valentine's Day for tomorrow.